The gentle art of slowing down. You've been walking with Seneca. His thoughts about fear, about the weight of time, about the quiet strength of a steady mind. And as his voice fades, another kind of silence begins. A softer silence. The kind that appears when the heart starts to loosen, after holding itself too tightly for too long. Let us continue from here, not by thinking harder, but by softening the way we move through this moment. Life, as you know, often moves faster than we expect. It asks for more. It pushes without warning. It pulls us in many directions at once. Sometimes we follow without question. Sometimes we hurry simply because everything around us hurries. Yet beneath all that movement, there is another rhythm we can return to. A rhythm older than fear, older than pressure, older than the noise we think is unavoidable. It is the rhythm of being alive, not performing, not proving, not racing, just being. This slower rhythm reveals itself when we pay attention, in the quiet of early morning, in the way sunlight rests on a floor, in the sound of leaves moving without urgency, in the warmth of a simple breath. There is a wisdom in these moments, a reminder that life is not meant to be carried like a burden, but met like an old friend. When we slow down, the world becomes clearer, the colors sharpen, the sounds grow softer, the heart stops bracing against what hasn't happened yet. We begin to feel the space between thoughts, a space wide enough for peace to enter. Slowing down is not laziness. It is not weakness. It is not refusal. Slowing down is a return to the depth that hurried living hides from us. It is the act of seeing again what speed makes invisible. Consider water for a moment. A fast river churns, clouded by its own movement. You cannot see the bottom because everything is being stirred too quickly. But when water slows, its clarity returns. You can see what lies beneath. The mind works in the same way. When it rushes, everything becomes tangled. When it slows, truth rises gently from the depths. When you slow the rhythm of your thoughts, you begin to see what is truly yours to carry, and what is simply passing through you. You see what you need, and what you do not. You see that not everything urgent is important, and not everything important demands urgency. The gentle art of slowing down naturally leads to another art, the art of letting go. Letting go is not a dramatic gesture. It is not sudden or harsh. It is subtle, quiet, almost invisible. It begins in small places, in the decision not to cling to a passing fear, in the choice to release a thought that keeps returning without offering anything, in the softening of an old regret that has overstayed its welcome. Each of us carries memories or ideas that weigh more than we realize, expectations we did not choose, standards that were handed to us by others, fear that came from someone else's voice, pressure accumulated simply by being alive in a fast world. We hold these things without noticing, but the heart knows the heaviness. It feels it in the breath, in the shoulders, in the tiredness that does not leave. Letting go is not something the mind does all at once. It happens like light entering a window slowly throughout the day. Small shifts, small openings, small releases. You start to see that some worries were never meant to define you. Some expectations were never meant to guide you. Some stories the mind told were never true to begin with. Letting go is simply acknowledging this truth and giving yourself permission to live without what harms you. And as you release, something else appears, the quiet awareness of your own existence. Existence not based on performance, not tied to productivity, not measured by accomplishment. Existence on its own, pure, simple, whole. To simply exist is to recognize that you are already enough. Not because you did something extraordinary today, but because you are here, because you are breathing, because life moves through you, without needing you to justify your right to it. Imagine sitting beneath a tree with no goal, no task, no expectation, just noticing the air around you, the ground beneath you, the sound of leaves shifting. In that moment, you are not failing. You are not behind. You are not lacking. You are simply alive. Sometimes that is the greatest wisdom of all. When life slows down, the world becomes gentler. Your breath becomes a companion, not a background habit. Your thoughts become visitors, not intruders. Your emotions become messengers, not enemies. Your presence becomes a home you can always return to. A slower life is not an empty life. It is a spacious one, a life with room to notice beauty, room to heal, room to choose, room to breathe without effort. Even now, as you listen, you may feel the mind settling just a little, not because you forced it to, but because you allowed it to soften. This softening is your natural state, the state you return to. When you let go of the weight of rushing, you do not need to move quickly to live a meaningful life. You do not need to reach for more to feel whole. You do not need to chase clarity to experience it. Clarity comes when the mind slows enough for truth to be heard. The wisdom of slowing down teaches you that life is not something you chase. It is something you participate in, not something distant, something close, always within reach. As the world continues to ask for speed, you can choose depth. As time continues to pass, you can choose presence. As others continue to rush, you can choose your own pace, your own rhythm, your own way. And if fear returns, because it will, you will meet it from a steadier place. Not from a racing mind, but from a calm one. Not from a tight heart, but from an open one. Fear loses its power when you are not running. If pressure builds again, you will have room to step back, to breathe, to look at the moment with softer eyes, to ask, what truly matters right now? The answer will rarely be speed. It will rarely be productivity. It will almost always be presence, connection, gentleness, peace. As this reflection continues, let yourself settle into the idea that you are allowed to live at the pace of your own breath. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to exist without urgency. You are allowed to live slowly and still live fully. Your life is not slipping away. It is unfolding, not in a race, but in a rhythm. Not in pressure, but in presence. Not in fear, but in awareness. You are learning to move with life instead of outrunning it. You are learning to listen to the quiet places within you. You are learning to trust that gentleness is a form of strength and that slowness is a form of wisdom. Life does not ask you to hurry. Life asks you to be here. The present moment is not small. It is everything. It is the doorway to peace, to clarity, to the gentler kind of living you have always deserved. So continue here, breathing softly, existing fully, moving gently, and trusting the simple truth that a slower life is a deeper life. And in that depth, you will find yourself again. The quiet strength of being kind to yourself. You have walked through fear. You have slowed your pace. You have begun to notice the softer rhythm beneath your life. Now, let us move into another gentle place. A place many people forget to visit. A place within you that deserves tenderness. There is a quiet strength that comes from being kind to yourself. Not the kind of kindness that feels forced, or dramatic, or loud, but the kind that feels like warm light touching the edges of a tired soul. Being kind to yourself does not mean avoiding responsibility. It does not mean ignoring your imperfections. It simply means meeting your own humanity with the same gentleness you would offer a friend. Life can be demanding. People can be sharp. Expectations can be heavy. And somewhere in the middle of all that, we learn to speak to ourselves in a voice harsher than the world ever intended. We say things we would never say to someone we love. We blame ourselves for not being strong enough, not being fast enough, not being everything at once. But there is a truth that slowly reveals itself. When life begins to soften, you do not need to earn your own kindness. You do not need to deserve it. You only need to allow it. Think of how easily compassion flows toward someone else in pain. A friend, a child, a stranger. We know exactly how to comfort them, how to speak gently, how to give space for their tiredness. And yet, we forget to do this for the person who needs it most, ourselves. Self-compassion is not indulgence. It is restoration. It is the moment when you stop fighting yourself and start listening to yourself. It is the moment when the heart enclenches. You have lived through more than you often admit. You have carried weight that others have never seen. You have survived confusion, loss, change, and countless silent battles that left no visible marks. You deserve a soft place to land, even if that place is simply the way you speak to yourself. Be gentle with the parts of you that are still learning. Be patient with the parts of you that change slowly. Be loving toward the parts of you that are afraid. There is no weakness in slowness. There is no shame in struggle. There is no failure in being human. The truth is simple. You are doing the best you can with the tools you have and the experiences that shaped you. And your best is allowed to change from day to day. Some days strength looks like courage. Some days strength looks like endurance. Some days strength looks like rest. And some days strength is simply choosing not to give up on yourself. Let your breath deepen as you remind yourself of this truth. You are allowed to be kind to the person you have been, the person you are, and the person you are becoming. Kindness toward yourself creates room for healing. Healing creates room for clarity. Clarity creates room for peace. And peace creates room for a life lived gently and fully. There is a small, quiet power inside everyone, a power that grows, not from pushing harder, but from softening, not from punishing yourself, but from accepting yourself. You do not need to become someone else to be worthy of kindness. You do not need to fix everything before you can rest. You do not need to be perfect before you can breathe deeply. You only need to recognize that you are still here, still breathing, still trying, still learning the art of being human. So speak softly to yourself. The next time you feel tired, remind yourself that progress is not a straight line. Growth is not loud. Healing is not visible. Wisdom is not rushed. Tell yourself that it is okay to start again. It is okay to slow down. It is okay to change direction. It is okay to feel lost and find your way back, one breath at a time. Let your own kindness become a warm shelter you can return to whenever the world becomes too sharp. You are not alone in this. Every person who has ever lived has walked through self-doubt and returned to self-compassion. It is an old path, carved by countless hearts. Seeking peace, walk that path gently. Trust that it will lead you to a quieter way of being, a way of living, where you no longer carry yourself like an opponent, but like a companion. You are allowed to be on your own side. You are allowed to be your own comfort. You are allowed to be the one who forgives yourself when you stumble. In time, you will learn that the softest voice inside you is often the wisest, the one that says, "You are enough. You always were. You simply forgot." As you move through the rest of your day, carry this truth with you gently. Your worth is not measured by your speed, your productivity, your success, or your perfection. Your worth is inherent, unconditional, unshaken by the things you fear. And the more gently you treat yourself, the more gently life treats you. Now breathe again, and let that breath remind you that you are here, you are whole, and you are learning, slowly, softly, the quiet strength of being kind to yourself